Hi, I'm John Devo from Wex, and I'm here with Canon expert Dave Parry, and today he's going to answer your questions from social media. The first question we have for you today, Dave, is from a gentleman called Don Barrow, and he would like to know, what is the best affordable zoom lens to use with the Canon 60 for shooting dance and fitness classes in low light? And he already has the 105. 24 to 105, sorry.
Okay, so if you've got 24-105, the sort of focal length I'd probably think about for dance and fitness, I'm guessing he's going to be in a hall or something like that. You're probably not going to have, you really want to try and get probably the full height of the dancer, so not go in too close. So I'd probably go for something like a 70 to 200. Something like that will probably be the best bet. Now we do 4 versions of the 70 to 200. We do 2 f4 versions and we do 2 2.8 versions, either with IS or non-IS. So this is the 2.8 version. This is the IS,
one of my favourite lenses.
Which is probably this is the kind of like a workhorse lens. This is for a lot of wedding photographers and people like that. It is a beautiful lens, but as you can see, it's quite a big, weighty lens. Yeah, and I'm thinking that if you're trying to hold this throughout an entire show or something like that, you might find it quite tough to hold on to.
Also, Don said affordable.
Yes,
That's
okay,
it
is, definitely. So one of the nicest lenses, or a lens that isn't quite as popular as this one, but I think is a bit of an unsung hero in our lineup, has got to be the f4 version. So this is the f4 IS version. I would definitely look at the IS version and not the non-IS, because the optics on the IS version is better. So I would look at this version.
And also for low light, stabilization is going to come in handy.
Yes, it is. And as the gentleman shooting with a 6D, he's got really good low light capability anyway. So I think this one will probably be a better bet for him. And if you look at the difference in the size and the weight on that, you can carry this lens around pretty much all day, and it'll still feel really comfortable. So for me, I'll be tempted to look at this one. So the 70 to 200 f4 IS.
The next question we have is from Darren McGregor, and he would like to know, what's the best zoom lens to use on the move for shooting birds, wildlife, and scenery for use with the 750D?
Okay, so for shooting birds and wildlife, you need a longer focal length because obviously you can't get too close to the subject. You don't want to disturb them in this kind of thing. And for the 750D, I would probably think either something like a 55 to 250 or the new 70 to 300, depending on what sort of focal length you went for. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the...
That's the new 70 to 300, right?
Yes, it is, yeah, and that's the 55 to 250.
So quite a difference in size then?
Yes, it is, yeah. The 55 to 250 is once again one of these lenses that people seem to pass over a bit. Really think, oh, it's a relatively cheap lens and this kind of thing. But actually, it's a fantastic lens to use. The autofocus in it is very quick and very accurate. Also, the optics are really nice. And what I like about this most of all is the weight. It weighs practically nothing.
I've actually never used this lens before. Yeah, it's really light.
Which makes it a lovely travel lens and a lovely lens to use.
And it's got macro capabilities, is that?
Yes, it has. Yeah. Now, this one, obviously, it's only 250, so the range isn't as great as some of the other lenses we do in our lineup. So this is the 70-300, which is our new version of this. The previous version to this was launched in 1995.
It's quite a while back.
So it needed an update, and this is the latest adaptation of it. And obviously, this gives you the 300mm, which will get you that a little bit closer to your subject. But you have to think about things in size and weight.
Yeah.
And this is a trend that you'll find across all of our lenses, because we have, about 96 lenses in our lineup. There's no one lens that does everything and is right for everybody. So,
next question we have is from Will Harold, and he would like to know, what is the best prime lens for portraits on a full frame camera and good value for money?
Well, if we're talking about full value for money, we're going to come back to this one again.
Fair enough.
For that money. But portraits is a little bit short. 50mm is a little bit short, really. There's a few other lenses that I really would look at. One that is a beautiful lens, and I don't have one here, I'm afraid, but it's the 85mm.
Hang on a second. You don't have a lens here?
No.
What?
This is, what we got about here, about 35 lenses, something like that. Like I said, we got over 90 in the range.
And I'll let you off.
If we could get 90 of them all in one room, I'd be really pleased.
No,
but
me too.
So far, that hasn't happened.
You may leave with 80. Fair enough.
But going back to the question, I would say we do an 85mm 1.8. Now, everyone talks about the 1.2. Which is an incredibly fast lens. Not one of my favourites, to be fair, but a lot of people really love that lens. But we do a 1.8 version, which is lovely. And on a full frame camera, I think 85 is a lovely length to have for portraits.
And arguably the 1.8 is a little bit sharper?
It's debatable.
Less margin for error.
Okay, let's go with that. Let's go with that. But don't underestimate the power of that 1.8. It is a lovely, lovely lens to use. Significantly cheaper and also significantly lighter as well. So, I'd have a look at that.
Well, Harold?
One more for Will. Sorry. Also have a look at the 100mm macros.
I love that actually, 2.8.
Yeah, well, we do the L version and the non-L version.
Yeah.
Have a look at those as well because they are lovely for portraits. Even though they're officially macro lenses, they're great for portraits.
I use the 100-8 macro, not the L version for portraits, and I've never had a problem with that. It's absolutely sharp. The optical quality of it's beautiful.
Yeah,
great contrast
absolutely.
as well. So yeah, actually, the 100 2.8 macro, L or non-L version, or the 85 1.8.
1.8, yeah.
There you go, Will. Next question is from Bill Miller, and he said, can anyone recommend, that would be you, a macro lens for his 550D?
Onto macro. We led quite nicely onto macro lenses.
I see what you did there.
So we just mentioned about the 100mm macros. Now the 100mm macros are really designed for full frame cameras because what you can find is they're a little bit long for crop sensor, so APS-C size sensor cameras. Now we do make two macro lenses for the APS-C size. So we do the 50mm, which is the compact macro, and we do the 60mm. I would go for the 60mm, no question. The 50mm is once again a very, very old lens. It's okay, but it's not a stitch on the 60mm. The 60mm macro is lovely. And you may find that the 60mm is more usable for macro photography on a crop sensor camera because you can get that a little bit closer to your subject. With the 100mm macros, you can sometimes find that you're too far away and therefore it can really affect the depth of field, make it very, very shallow, which can make it quite hard to work with.
The next question we have is from Sparky_MDH74. Which L series lens would you recommend for landscape photography on an EOS 70D?
Now, we don't have any L series in the EFS lineup of lenses, although there are some with some beautiful optics inside them, as I mentioned there with the 1585. But what I would be tempted to do, I mean, the two L series lenses that we have are the 1635 and the 1740. Now, the 1635 is a really nice lens, and we do a couple of versions. We've got the Mark II and the Mark III versions. So I would be if you're definitely looking for an L series, I'll be tempted to go with those. So that's worth your first look for L series. But don't be put off by a lens just because it's not L series. Some of the non-L series lenses have amazing optics. Yeah. So have a look at some of the reviews that come through. A lens I'd be tempted to try, which I shouldn't be saying this because it's significantly cheaper than the L series lenses, but we've just launched the 10 to 18mm.
Love that lens. Absolutely love that lens.
I would be tempted to try that
there we go.
Because it's once again, it's one of the latest generations of optics inside here. It's a great size and weight.
Yeah.
And okay, it hasn't got the build of the L series. So he's saying about landscape photography, he is spending a lot of time outdoors in very harsh environments. You really do need to go for the L series, but if not, be tempted to have a look at this.
As well.
Yeah, which isn't quite so important on the wider focal length lenses. The IS really works well if you're shooting movies. That's why I like with the wide angle. Yeah, you and your movies.
movies.
But this would be something worth looking at. Otherwise, yeah, you've got like the 1635.
The next question we have is from @32runs, and they would like to know, I can't tell if that's a gentleman or a lady, but they would like to know, what is the best budget upgrade from the 18 to 55 kit lens? Maybe a wider angle for the 100D. He also has the 50mm 1.8 and the 55 to 250.
That's a good choice of lenses there. And obviously they've already got the
I
18 to 55.
I get this question about upgrading from a kit lens really often. That's a really common question.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair because the kit lenses are great because they get you started in photography. You can try a bit of landscape, maybe a bit of portrait and this kind of thing with that lens. And then what's nice about it is you can decide what type of photography you enjoy doing and then move either way from there. If you like landscape photography, you can go wider. Yeah. If you like sports photography or portrait something, you can go higher. If you want to do some really creative work, whether macro or that kind of thing, you can go faster lenses to get that really shallow depth of field. So I think the kit lens is a great place, for starting out, and that's why we do them with the 1855. It gives you a taster of different types of photography, and then you can move on from there. And this person has obviously made some great choices there. 50mm 1.8, 55 to 250, fantastic. The one other lens I will put on there, I'm sorry we've got all these lenses here, but we seem to be talking about the same lenses again and again. It's got to be the 10 to 18.
I mean, yeah. If they do want to go wider, they've already got a 50mm. They've already got 55 to 250.
If you want to go longer, yep.
So I mean,
the logical choice has got to be this one, because we do the 10 to 22mm as well,
which is also a really popular lens.
It is. It's a great lens, but this one is significantly lighter. It's also, I believe, a bit cheaper, and it's a newer generation. So I would be, out of those two, I would be tempted to look at this one. You might want the added up to 22mm, but this person has got an 18 to 55 already. Okay. So now,
you're not going to get much more.
No. So if you get this one, you got 10 to 18, 18 to 55, 55 to 250.
Perfect.
What else do you
that's
want?
Quite a setup.
100 to 400 next.
Yeah, that's quite a setup.
And that will cover you for pretty much all types of photography, I would say. So that's a great choice there. They've got some great choices.
Yeah, they're already well kitted up, so we know what they're getting for Christmas, 10 to 18. And our final question today is from Charlie Aldous 1, and they would like to know, we'd like your recommendations for the most important lenses for a new Canon on a user budget, APS-C format, besides the 50mm STM. They must have heard the other questions.
Yeah.
No more 50mm STMs.
No. I mean, well,
it's interesting to say for the most important lenses.
Yeah, that's tough, because there's so many different types of photography. What's important to one photographer is not necessarily important to another photographer.
Indeed.
So it's a tough thing to do. I mean, one of the lenses I really like for APS-C format has got to be the 1585, but a lens that's come through recently, which is really nice, has got to be the 18135. For sort of all-round use, I would say that's a very important lens.
We've got that
because,
on the ATV at the front there.
Yeah. So that's the latest one with the zoom power adapter on the bottom, and this is a lovely lens for an all-round lens. This has got to be one of the best, because you've got the great range there. So you've got right the way from 18 to 135. You've got great optics here. You've got an IS unit inside here. It's great for stills as well as movies. And obviously, I've got this one's got the zoom power adapter on the bottom.
That's pretty nifty.
Yeah, it's a cool little device, that is. But it's a great, and I'd say, yeah, if you're talking about the most important lens, I would say, because this is likely to be the lens that you'll keep on the body 90% of the time, because it's great for everything. So yeah, I would go with this one.
Nice one. So that's it from me and Dave and your questions. If you do have any more, please put them in the section below. Otherwise, subscribe to our channel for more great videos.